ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chioma, and I'm ADM for Team Flex. And so today I'm presenting you with our end of sprint report for our Aston Martin project. So I start off with just telling you this is an overview of all the work that we've done over the last 2 weeks. So there will be presenters and reps from each role that will be coming up to explain a little bit of what they've done throughout the sprint. So first off, we have the Scrum Masters. And so I'll now like to hand you over to presenter Farouk Grillo, who will tell us a little bit more about Scrum Masters team report. Over to you, Farouk.
All right, thank you very much, Chioma. Good evening, everyone. I'm Farouk Grillo, Scrum Master, Team Flex. And in just a couple of minutes, I'll be taking you through what it is we've been able to achieve in Sprint 1, also tagged as Sprint Aston Martin. First of all, we'll take you through the foundations with which we have delivered what it is that we have delivered as Scrum Masters: optimum courage, commitment, respect for others, and openness in everything that we do, in ensuring that impediments are removed and all blockages are taken care of for our team members. This is what I personally worked on because I was the Scrum Master lead for Sprint 1. So I had the responsibility of facilitating all the ceremonies, worked on updating the Azure Wiki board, and consistently delivered learning nuggets, and development tips, both to specific roles and also to the general team on the general platforms, amongst so many other things. Next slide, please. All right, and we have a couple of interview questions that would engage a lot of us maybe after this presentation for us to be able to see how to answer. This is also for my assistant, Ijoma. She also did quite a bit in Sprint 1. She's assisted in setting up all the team meetings and even for some meetings for other roles. She's identified and eliminated quite a number of obstacles, I think about 4 impediments within the last sprint. And she's also organized session knowledges where she's gotten mentors to actually come in and take us on 30-minute and 1-hour learning sessions in the team. Very well done, Chioma. Next slide, please. And these are also some of the interview questions she's been able to pick out for our development ongoing. Essay for a bit of time within the sprint had been indisposed, but towards the end of the sprint, she really came back, vibrant, and she's worked on a good number of slides in the PowerPoint presentation that we're going to be sharing this evening. She's also assisted in updating the wiki page on the Azure board and being side by side with the team lead in facilitating the weekly general meeting that we pioneered. All right, and these are the interview questions she's also been able to source for our career development ongoing. All right, Kenneth Okiria was actually the Scrum Master lead for the last sprint. He was also halfway through the sprint, not available due to work-related issues, but towards the end of the sprint, he really came back, to facilitate the meeting with the ADMs for the design and the updates of the team charter document and further uploading onto the Azure board. And some of these documents had to be physically typed onto the board, and he was able to personally handle that for us. And these are the interview questions that he's also been able to source for our career development ongoing. All right, Isaiah is one also very active Scrum Master in the team, and he's also been able to, outside his own role, facilitate the impediment resolution for another intern, I think was the data analyst role. And this was very commendable for Isaiah.
I'm sorry, I need to interrupt this. I need to interrupt, I'm sorry. So we're not talking about each Scrum Master now. Everybody will present live nap ahead. But for this, you're supposed to say in general what Scrum Masters did. And you have 2 minutes, you've spent 5. So the remaining part of your team, that's the remaining 4 roles, they probably have 5 minutes to share. So this is not talking individually. Don't worry, don't be thrown off. Don't be thrown off. What you're supposed to do is combined all Scrum Masters. What did we do? We were able to resolve impediments. We were able to.
Yeah, this is still coming.
Like that.
This is still coming afterwards.
Then you need to jump. This is 1-1. You spent 5 minutes. You are supposed to spend just 2.
But allow me, this is what Deji asked us to do.
So this is what we shared with Deji earlier.
Deji, please go ahead.
Yeah. I don't mind anyway, but we need to know that the time is far is going, because for me, I think this is very, very important. So I know that everyone is doing something. It's very, very good for us to know, so that someone is not just kind of hiding behind the other people. Do you get? And if, to be honest, I think we might adopt this particular process as we go along, so that I know what everyone is doing. Do you get it now? That's very, very important, because what we see is that it will be only 2 people that is doing something, other people are not doing anything. So, which is very important. But time is precious. Do you get it now? And I think I don't expect you to go through everything. Do you get it now? Just do that, because as you are going, I'm actually taking note. Do you get it now? You don't need to worry. So, because one thing that I also want to do is, like everything that you guys have said you've done now, this is what can go into your CV. Do you get it now? Even if it's Alex that did it, or Isaiah or Ben or something like that, you guys can see what are the responsibility of a Scrum Master. Do you get it now? You can put them in your CV, because at least you know. So even if you're not the one that did it, someone actually did it. You know what the person has done. Do you get it? You can be able to talk about it. Even if it's going to be what's it called, super alpha, that will put on that CV, but we should learn from each other what other person has done. But this is good, but let's be swift in the time anyway, so if that's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Allow me, is that okay?
Yes, please proceed, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and that would be Isaiah's questions. So basically, this is what we've done as the Scrum Master team. We're able to create what we call this daily stand-up register on an Excel sheet, which is also on the Teams platform. The setup, the Azure Wiki page setup, how it's supposed to look. And also, this is the collaborative board with which we developed our team charter on Miro, and then further ended up uploading that. We're able to also create a daily update from the Scrum Master lead called Morning Tea or Afternoon Chops, giving the members, updates from previous days' activities and key learnings. And then we've also been able to create our TeamFlex risk and impediment log, which we update as each and every impediment comes up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Farouk. So back to me, Chioma. So I am part of the ADM team, so the Agile Delivery Manager, so comprises of myself, Loretta, and Kemi. And so the task that I worked on was inputting the test plan for our Mentorship project onto the Azure board. So I was also the ADM lead for this sprint, so this Aston Martin sprint, and then worked on the end of sprint report, collating information from all the different members of the team. So this is a screenshot of some of the communication that I had with QAs and also on the general flex team, just asking people to get information to collect our project. And now I'll hand you over to my colleague Loretta, and my colleague Loretta, and this was some of the things that she did. So she was my assistant lead. She followed up with Scrum Masters on the key tasks that were meant to be done, and then also worked on a budget breakdown. So really looking at the budget for the day and for the week and for the sprint as well. And then she also communicated with Scrum Masters, followed up with them regarding key tasks that needed to be done. And then my final colleague, ADM Kemi, she worked on actually getting the MS Team repository together, putting all the documents that we had worked on, so things like our project mandate, our team charter, our sprint goals, and then all the different documents for the different departments. Kemi also worked on sort of adding our Scrum ceremony dates to the wiki so that you can see the dates that each Scrum ceremony was done. And she also worked with us to create the budget tracker and the team organo chat. And she also liaised with the BADAs and all the different members of the team. In addition, as an ADM team, we worked on our product backlog item for this sprint Aston Martin. And then as you can see, the diagram actually at the bottom puts in, you look at our sprint goal, you look at all the different tasks that were done and the different requirements for the end of sprint one report. And then one of the other tasks that we did was working on the organogram for the interns. I couldn't say that word, so that's why I hesitated for a moment. And then you can see the different levels. So looking at where the different members of the team, so the Scrum Masters, the ADM, the data analysts, the product owners, and where they sit in relation to the tasks that we had to complete for this sprint. And then other tasks that we worked on, we also, based on our trainings that we had with our mentors, we looked at agile values, and principles. We looked at the different types of agile Scrum frameworks. We looked at Scrum events, roles, and artifacts. And then we also compared the different agile methodologies, so including things like Scrum of Scrum and the different things like that. And then finally, yesterday, we had a training on guidelines for writing a good user story. So, and then each different team, you can see what each different person and each different ADM works on in terms of the interview questions that we had. And that's just been skipped over, but that's what we've done. So I'll hand you over now to our business analyst and Moses Adepoju as he presents the team report. Over to you, Moses.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Moses Adepoju, and I'm the team lead for for Sprint 1. As a team, we were able to write the user stories in preparation for Sprint 2. And we also refined the story for Sprint 1, which has been written since the last sprint. And then we created acceptance criteria and user stories. And so these are some of the things that we did. This is for Yemi. And then can you please go to the next slide? Yeah, so then we have a elicitation section with the PO. Then we also we wrote epic user story and acceptance criteria. Also, we populated a story on the Azure DevOps. Then we work on the wireframe. And then these are the user stories that we created. And then so we worked on the documents. This is the requirement traceability matrix. We're also able to work on the functional requirements document, use case, and some other documents. We still have some documents that are still in progress that are here to conclude on that. So thank you. So, okay, all right. That's all from my end. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Rose Okere, the Sprint Aston Martin lead for the QAs. So in this sprint, I will just give a brief analysis of what we did as a team. 6 PBIs were committed to sprint, which included the footer, the header, the banner, the logo, about us drop down, and the Kickstart Mentor Mentee CTA button. So those 6 were committed. So we had a meeting and we agreed that we're all QAs were going to write at least test cases for 3 of the user stories, but each one of us will have a responsibility for 1 user story at least, which everyone will be held responsible for. So we did a meeting and that was shared. So I'm going to go on to say what everyone did then. So Abel, okay, starting with Ed. So Ed had the user story, Kickstart Mentor Mentee. He wrote 3 test cases for that feature, and he did test run on 2. 2 of the test cases failed, and he raised 2 bugs for that. And that's his screenshot showing what he did. We move on to the next person. He has interview stories there. Abel was the assistant lead. We were able to work together to put meetings together. He helped to carry out delegated tasks, and he was responsible for the header, For that header, he wrote he designed 4 test cases, which all of them were run. 3 of them failed and 1 of them passed. And he raised let's have a look. He raised $3 for that. And these are his screenshots to show what he's done. And his test questions and interview questions are also there. We go over to Esther. So with Esther, there was an issue. The story that she was assigned was the About Us drop down. For some reason, the About Us drop down remained the committed column and did not move forward. So that kind of hindered her actually really working on their job board and writing her test cases. There was some kind of confusion and mix up with it. So hopefully this will improve next sprint. But she participated in all team meetings and provided ideas, and she just sent us a copy of a test case she wrote about us, drop down, just to show that she understood a little bit of what it was all about. Next person. Okay, so this is me, Rose Okere, was the QA lead for this sprint. I spent a lot of time organizing and facilitating the QA meetings with the mentors to cover training gaps and help knowledge transfer. Like, we really needed someone to put us through how our job board works in terms of creating a task and a test activity and how to execute the tests and all these parameter values. So we learned all that from the mentor. I helped to motivate my team, because it was becoming overwhelming, the learning process. I played a very active role when it came to verifying the acceptance criteria, and defining the sprint backlog. So reporting this to the BA and to the Scrum Masters too. I wrote 2 test cases. I wrote test cases for 2 user stories for the footer. So for the footer, I was able to design 7 test cases, and all of them were run. Out of all of them that were run, 4 of them passed and 3 of them failed. And I did raise 3 bugs for that, which is showing on my screenshot. Next slide, please. And these are just an example of one of my test steps, just showing how it's been written. So anyone can take a look at it later. And also I wrote for the logo, and with the logo, there wasn't any wireframe and specification requirement were not actually sent. So, but we just wrote the test cases off, from a little exploration. And 8 test cases were written. 4 of them I could not, I couldn't test really because it was blocked, because there was nothing to go by to verify the elements. 2 of them passed the test run and 2 of them failed, and I did raise 2 bugs for that. That's just an example of the test cases that I wrote, and of course, this is an example of the test steps that I went through. Next slide. So as a whole for the team, in total, we wrote 26 test cases for this sprint, and 42% of it has passed. 38% had failed. 15% was blocked. 4% wasn't run. 10 bugs were raised, all awaiting debugging so that we can retest. So everything's still pending. That's it for the team. Reju, one of our teammates, couldn't make it for this sprint because he had a device problem. Didn't have a laptop, didn't have even the phone to communicate. I sent him a lot of messages. I finally got through to him this evening, but of course the slide was closed and everything was late. Hopefully he will be sorted out by the next sprint. And Beatrice Taiwo, I don't know who that is, never been part of our meetings. And that's it. Thank you so much. So over to the DAs now, please. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Pisiso Afolabi. I'm presenting for data analyst. Okay, these were the tools we used. Next slide, please. I'm going to be going to our individual works. These are just a summary of what we did. Basically, we had 2 classes. We worked on 2 software. We had the Power BI and Tableau. So these are just summary of basically what we did. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide is actually for Kemi. These were the stories she wrote on Azure DevOps board. Next slide. Her interview questions. Okay, this is my own summary. Basically, we did almost the same thing, but we had different presentations, different visualizations. Next slide. This was my story on Azure Azure DevOps board. Next slide. And my screenshots, what I did. Next slide, please. Okay, this is for Abiola, summary of the classes and everything we attended. Next slide. Her stories on Azure. Next slide. Her visualizations. Next slide. This is just still for Abiola. Next slide, please. Okay, this is for Bomi. She had a great impediment. Her system crashed. So, but this is a summary of what she did because we did everything together. Next slide, please. This is her story. She was able to create the story before the system crashed, but she doesn't have screenshots of what she did. Next slide, please. Okay, this is for Ola Wole. This is a summary of what we did in the class. Story on Azure DevOps board. Screenshots of his Power BI and all the tools that we use. Next slide, please. Okay, this is still a summary of what he did. Screenshots, Power BI presentations. Next slide, please. This is his screenshots of the data we analyzed, the visualizations and the rest. Next slide, please. This is for Samuel. He doesn't really have a summary, but these are screenshots of what he did. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, basically, this is the summary of what we did as a group. Like I said, we had Power BI classes. Mostly we got data from, we extracted data from SQL Server, and we transformed data, we cleaned data, and we transformed by renaming the data. If you look at the slides, you see basically what we did for Power BI. Next slide, please. Then for Tableau, we got data from Sales Superstore, and these were the stories that we ran with for the sprints. Next slide, please. Okay, so we didn't get to meet Tosin. We hope that by next sprint she'll be a part of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, Scrum Masters, go ahead.
Thank you. So I'll just hand over to our Scrum Master Farouk, and he's going to give us a bit more information about the metrics for sprint. Aston Martin.
Yes, fast as you can because you've exceeded time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. So these are just going to be screenshots of the metrics for the end of sprint. This is our burn down chart, and it just basically shows through the course of the sprint how much of the tasks from the beginning of the sprint have been completed versus what was initially there at the beginning. So the total scope we can see is about 26 PBIs. I think out of all of these tasks, we completed just about, 5 or 6 of them, of the tasks that were put in the to-do section. All right, and this gives us 43% completed tasks for the sprint. With the burn up, we can see that it's basically more or less 25% completed task at the end of the sprint, and still with the total scope of about 26. We are yet to be able to get any definitive velocity, and as you can see, due to the fact that we are yet to get a rhythm of completed versus expected for this first sprint, but by the time we get into the second or third sprint, we'll have a trend that will be able to show us some reasonable velocity framework. And this is actually a summary of our attendance list. It's a collation of over about a week that we're able to take these records, how many were present in our stand-up meetings, how many were absent per day, and how many were absent with notice. So we're seeing that we're having an average of 2021 in attendance of about 32 team members. All right, and we've already flagged quite a number of names as perpetual absentees. All right. Thank you very much.
I think just because of time, I'm just aware of our time that we've exceeded, but this next slides are just showing things like our budget tracker, showing an overview of our sprint, and that brings, and then also BA documents, but that brings us to the end of our goal. And then the next bit is our sprint Bugatti goal for the next sprint is to develop user registration, login, cookies, and work with the rest of the team to achieve this goal. So thank you very much. And that's the end of our sprint review.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Team Flex.
Thank you. So, sincerely, before we go to the next team for Team Flex, I will not focus on the fact that you are ready for Sprint Bugatti, but I'll focus on your Aston Martin sprint. Well done. Honestly, I know I'm not supposed to give feedback right now, but I'm just seeing synergy between the team and especially within the roles. So I would like all of you to unmute and probably let me just hear a clap. I know that you guys exist. This is beautiful. I like everything from it. So the only thing I'll tell you guys tonight.
Well done, well done.
I'm sorry, guys, for the slides moving so fast. I have a
It's
network delay that just
fine.
made it jump. Sorry.
That's fine.
Don't worry, it's fine.
That's all right. You've done well, Kemi.
So
Well
the
Go
only
done.
thing,
Flex. Go Flex. Go Flex.
don't worry, it's okay. But the only thing you know that I wanted to say is also a backup. Even if any of the feedbacks you're hearing is negative, I cancel it to positive right now. So don't worry.
Amen.
Even anybody that is listening.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen, Jesus.
Thanks for the encouragement.
Honestly, I was amazed at some of the things I'm seeing. This is end of sprint one. So this is a beautiful work. Well done, guys. Please don't relax. Keep pushing. I like the push. I can feel the push. I wasn't there when you guys were doing the slides, but I see the synergy amongst everybody. And I tried to watch out for a bit of copying, and there was no copying there. Do you get, in the sense that, because it tells me there was synergy within the roles. Yes, there was similarity in the fact that each of the page might look, but there were differences in each of the slides. So it's really nice to see that every role, everybody put in a lot of work today. So well done, guys, really. Let's not overflow it. We need to jump to the next team. So you get your feedback shortly. Don't worry. Moji is ready for the ADMs and the SMs. Bolu is ready for the BAs. Rita is ready for the QAs. And Femi is ready for the DAs. So don't worry. Get your feedback. We're going to jump to the Super Alpha team. However, during this your presentation, I got a message from them. I spoke to them, and they are actually not outrightly ready as a team. I choose not to chastise them, and thank God I got the heat before now, because I would have just reacted with my first reaction of, but so we'll take it as it comes. So I'll just put it out there. The SMs are not ready, right? Because of one issue or the other, they're not ready. So there's no need catching up words. But we will not chastise them today. We'll find a way to help them, right? So SMs, you don't need to drop off. Don't worry, be bold, but we'll not take this again next sprint. I'll let Deji speak on that too, but we'll not take it again next sprint. And because your slides are not together, I'm not going to punish the other team members for that. So we'll be as fast as we can. BAs of Super Alpha, do you have your slides ready? Are you ready to present now? BAs.
We've actually put up something on the slide together, so we've done that quickly. I don't know if we can then present and
show it together then.
Yeah, right. We'll just see how we can work on it for this particular sprint.
It's fine. Then I also say, please don't be shaken. Give it your best. Speak to your slides and let's go. Don't worry. Doesn't mean you're not going to do well, even with the setback. So BA, start. Don't worry. Share your slides. Go ahead.
I'll share the screen now.
All right. So I know each one is an SM, so it's still okay. You're stepping up yourself and Bolanle, but go ahead. Let's see. Okay. So let's go. You guys have 10 minutes. So.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Itwen, and I'll be presenting for the Amazon Sprint Super Alpha Scrum Masters team for now. So if you can see on our board, that's the screenshot of what we've done for the last sprint. We were able to work on them alongside with the QAs, resolving certain one or two impediments. They had some bugs which we had to help them move around. We worked on the team capacity as well, alongside with the QAs, because they'd done some testing and they wanted us to help them resolve one or two on the board. Based on last sprint as well, we were able to work alongside. We engaged ourselves with stakeholders. We worked on analyzing certain projects as well, knowing them and managing them. We changed the process of stakeholders' requirements. We worked on our metrics as well. We worked on team charter, which is on the next slide that I've just shown to you now. And if you can see, that's the metrics with the burn down chart as well. So I'll move to the ADMs to quickly give us their presentation.
If there's no ADM on the call, it's well, Bolande, speak through it, please, quickly. Just speak through it.
Tony is supposed to present, but I don't believe she's here, so I'll just take it off now. For the Super Alpha ADM, please can you put on to the next slide? My name is Isaac, and I'm one of the ADMs for the Super Alpha team. Right, so this is a summary of the project. Next slide, please. For this sprint, we've been able to identify some of the activities that we need to tackle. Please, next slide, please. We've been able to come up with the budget allocation for each individual role, as you can see here. Next slide, please. We've also been able to identify some issues and some risks that the project may face, and it involves fully onboarding team members, which is on the green, which is a low risk. We also have inadequate team members joining, which is identified as a medium risk, and also what we identified as a high risk is the project team not having full knowledge of the Azure board. We also learned some lessons through Sprint Amazon, which is we need to have more team meetings because and we need to also improve our communication. Next slide, please. This is a screenshot of our dashboard. You can see our velocity. We also have our burn up chart, and we've been able to complete 15 items. And yeah, next slide, please. We also worked on our wiki board. We established some documentations that needed to be included on our wiki, which include the Agile ceremonies, principles, and also documentations for all the individual teams. Next slide, please. This is a screenshot of our velocity. We have been able to put 14 items as work in progress. Next slide, please. And this is an overview of 10 ADM Agile Delivery Manager interview questions that we have prepared. Next slide, please. All right, so I'll hand over to the business analyst now. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Adela, and I will be presenting on behalf of the Super Alpha business analysts. Okay, so this is the content we have today. Next slide, please. So our sprint goal is authorization functionality. So what we're doing right now is for the features we created last sprint, which were actually static, but now they're non-static. So next slide, please. So what we've learned to create wireframes using some of the tools below, using Balsamiq to create wireframes, and also process mapping using Visio, and also the Azure DevOps as well. Next slide, please. So what we have done so far is we're able to engage with stakeholders, which is the product owner. So we're able to gather requirements, also analyze processes, and commit some user stories to the UAT done. We're able to prioritize requirements based on how important it is. And we're also able to document acceptance criteria and also committed PBIs to sprint. Next slide, please. So this is our elicitation document. So what we've done is we actually split the epic, feature, user story, and then the BA responsible for each user story. Next slide, please. So this is the product backlog items. So we already put it in, we actually categorized everything. So we have 1 epic, 3 features, 11 product backlog items, 11 user stories, and we're able to, the product owner approved 7 user stories. And this is a screenshot of our board, the Azure DevOps board. Next slide, please. So this is also a continuation. So it shows some of the work items that were moved to UAT done. So well, some of the work items in the UAT done have actually been moved to done. So next slide, please. So our achievements this sprint, we collaborated with the team without hustle. I must really commend the team. I would say well done. Also, we've been able to navigate the Azure DevOps and platform because it's an ongoing learning process for us. Last sprint, one of our team members dropped off, and this spring we're able to have a new member, Uche, and also we moved some work items to UAT done. We have the few impediments we had. Next slide, please. The few impediments we had, we're able to resolve them. Next slide, please. So these are, so each business analyst has their interview questions, which we have in a folder, but as a team, we came up with this interview questions. Next slide. And this is our team, and thank you for listening. So I'll just take to pass it back to you, Scrum Master, to take over.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. This is Adeni Finfolua, presenting for the data analyst in the Super Alpha team. Next slide. And these are the team members. Next slide. We have been working with 2 analytical tools, which have been Power BI and Tableau. For this sprint, we were to work with the AdventureWorks DW20 database, which we had to connect and extract from the database from MySQL. And then we also had the responsibility of cleaning and transforming the data. And then in Tableau, we continue working with the Superstore data set. And we had the sprint questions story to determine which category or subcategory had the lowest profit and the underlying causes for the situation. And then we're also to granulate visual representation of the geographic distribution of profit even within the Superstore. Next slide. And then we have here the view of the process of connecting and extracting data set from the MySQL, which starts from launching of the Power BI, clicking Get Data, and then selecting the SQL server, which leads us to the place whereby we put in our server details, and then we now click on the AdventureWorks DW20 database, and then we now transform the data. From there, where we start the process of editing, querying, removing empty values, and renaming of data sets towards cleaning the data and making it possible even for data analysis and then drawing of insights, which we'll be looking into in the future sprints. Next slide. You can also skip this one. I've spoken about it. And then here we have the Power Query Editor dashboard. We have the imported data set, even to the left, and then we have the one that has been fine-tuned and configured even towards the right. Next slide. And then we have the story on the Azure DevOps, which speaks about the stories that we have to work on even in this sprint. Next slide. And now here we have the graphical distribution of profit in the Superstore. We have the key performance indices stated there, the sum of profits, 286,000 plus. And then we have the sum of sales in the range of 2 million. And then we also have the amount of discount, and then the count of orders. And then we also have the ratio, the profits ratio, which is very small, which speaks to the fact that the organization cannot be trusted even to put so much of its revenue into making profits. And we also have the profit symbol, which shows the distribution of population even in the United States, and it's overlaid with the profit that is attached to each of the cities. Next slide. And then also we have the visualization of the subcategory with lowest profit. We discovered that furniture category has the lowest profit, which is 18,000 pounds. And then we went further even to look at the subcategory, discovering that bookcases and tables happen to have had a loss of 3,000 pounds and then 18,000 pounds. A look further, we discovered that even though so much discount was given, yet even with this, it did not lead even to the increase in sales and profit even from these products. Next slide. And then here we have the sales feed map, which speaks of the sales which is spread across the postal codes and areas where these products have been gotten. And we have the profit made by each of the cities, each of the states, also showing even on the map. Next slide. So here we have the link that we can click on that will take us even to the page, even on the Tableau online. Next slide. And then with this, we have key achievements. We will be able to visualize on Tableau the geographic spread of profit across the United States. And then we'll also be able to transform the data set given to us about the AdventureWorks DW20 data set. We had little impediments talking about the installation of data analysis tools and then setting up of our story on the Azure DevOps. We're able to come up with solutions as we took time even to watch the installation of some of the softwares. And then some of us had to get new laptops as our laptops could not carry some of the applications softwares we had to use. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Amazonians. Well done. Thank you. I'm happy something came up at the end of the day and you guys are able to collate. So well done. Please give yourself a pat at the back. And I'm very impressed about.
No, we're not done yet.
Oh, I thought you were done. Come on.
We have the QAs to come in and present.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Adijat. I'm one of the QA from the Super Alpha team, and today I will be presenting the Amazon Sprint QA report. Overall, this is what we did during the Amazon Sprint. We did sprint planning, sprint refinement. We wrote our test strategy and test cases, both in positive and negative scenario. We manually tested our test cases in Azure DevOps. We wrote bug reports where it was applicable. We retested, and we finally wrote our test summary reports. Next slide, please. So for the Amazon Sprint, we had 9 work items that were committed, and these items were each assigned to each of the QA team members from the Super Alpha team. So next slide, please. So prior to testing, all the QA members understood what our entry criteria was, and this was by confirming that the developer has completed the unit testing. He has verified that each of the units was functioning as expected. We all wrote our test cases and we were ready to go, and we provided the test environment by the developer. Next slide, please. So this is showing one of the test case. Next slide, please. And all right, so as a member, we all proceeded to manually test using Azure DevOps, and we found that there were 6 work items that passed while 3 of the work items, ad hocs, they were later categorized as low priority. Next slide, please. So this is showing the 9 committed work and the bugs in the QA doing and the QA done. All the work items had already been moved to in UAT by the BAs. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So this is the bug report. So so like I said, we had 3 bugs that were of low priority. They were the find the mentor, create a get started button, and create about us button. So this is the slide showing our bug reports. We have 3 of those that that is in the slide. Next 3 slides, please. And here is showing the low priority bugs that we found. Like I said, find the mentor, create get started button, and create about us button. Thank you. Next slide, please. So yeah, so prior to exiting, we made sure that all the low priority bugs that we found were fixed. So that was done by reassigning the bugs that we found to the developer. After the developer fixed the bugs, we did retest that the all bugs as by the QA team. So before exiting, we assured that the low priority bugs were fixed. The test cases that we did write were specific to the feature, which were all non-clickable, and we all executed and verified that all that was done. There were critical cases, and it did pass before we moved to QA done. So we finally wrote our summary test report. Next slide. So this was just highlighting the total number of work items that we did. As I mentioned, we had 9 in total. And at the end of the Amazon sprint, all work items passed and they were all confirmed by the Scrum Master. Thank you so much.
Okay, so that will be all. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. I guess what was confusing me is the fact that everybody put end since it was collated, at the late end. But thank you, everyone. Really, I'm happy you guys did not give up, and I appreciate the strive and everybody coming together to make sure this happens. So we should always all be battle ready, but no worries, we're all learning. It's still the early stage, so don't worry, guys. Well done, well done. I was very impressed by some of the people, but I'll leave the mentors to speak because I don't want to pinpoint the role and guide the voting tonight. Just to reconfirm before I call the mentors to give feedback, and also because of time, we need to move fast, guys, and we're going to achieve what we need to achieve tonight. So before I call that, I would like to ask Bolu. Bolu, what's your plan for voting tonight?
Well, sorry, I have background noise. I didn't hear what you said before.
Yeah, I was saying, do you have plans for voting tonight?
Oh yeah, yes.
Please
yes,
go ahead
okay.
and tell the bunch.
Yeah. So I will send out but that will be at the end of all the presentations. So the way it's going to work is you're going to vote by row, per team, if that makes sense. And then it's important for you to also fill in the feedback form, which I will send as well now, so you can start filling that, because that will count towards the vote of your team. Deji.
Yeah, thanks, Bolu. I was thinking that we should do it now because the later part is individual, right? It doesn't affect your team. But now this is the work they've done within the team. I think it would be good. And also, it would be good to do it now before the mentor starts speaking to the feedback so that you don't start to, sway the vote. Do you get it now? It would be good. Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So Bolu, over to you in the next 10 minutes, how you want to go ahead. Because I was just waiting for her to finish. Like, be good, we finished the whole presentation. So it's just the individual ones that is left now. So I think it's okay for us to vote.
I will send it to I'll send it right about now to the chat, to the Telegram group, and also on the Zoom chat.
Okay. So guys, please go in and vote immediately. What she was saying about roles is we're going to be voting per role. Since we have just 2 teams, now you'll be seeing 10, no, I'll say 5 votings. That's SM for flex, SM for, okay, did you say 6? 5 as per SM for flex, SM for super alpha, DA for flex, DA for like that. So you decide which role. You can't pick both. You can't say you pick DA for flex and DA for super alpha. No, pick per role. 5 votings for you guys. Yeah, I hope that's clear enough. So, and please
Okay,
try.
I think they're allowed to pick 2, right? They're
No.
allowed to.
They are allowed to pick, but you cannot pick the same role twice. Then it kills the vote.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. They can.
It won't
They
even
have to
allow
pick
you,
5.
actually. It's not going to allow you anyway. Yeah.
They have to pick
So
up to 5, but the 5 will be 1 for each row. So if I pick flex for this now, I can pick alpha for another row like that. So try not to be too biased. People want to pick for their team, I understand, but try not to be too biased. Yeah. I just thought.
No, I think it's only 2 you're allowed to pick, right?
Bolu. No, really, if it was team on team, that's when we always say you can just vote twice. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think for this time, Bolu, yeah, they're allowed to pick only two teams, right? Which is your team of the week, right? So you're allowed to pick whether it's the BA in flex or is the DA in superfly.
Oh, okay. I
So
get
from there, Bolu knows what to do after that. So there's another collation that will come. So you're allowed to pick only 2, right? The 2 that you think, yeah, okay, I think the DA in super flex actually did where you pick that and you pick another person. Do you get it now? So yeah, so that's how it's going to go. Yeah.
Thank you. Right.
Is that Bolu? That I think that's
you didn't concur. Quickly concur so that we'll know.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Then just on the line. Okay, Essie, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
All right.
Please, I just need clarification. The voting, I just went to the link. Are we voting based on tonight's presentation? Because it says for the week. How do I vote for Alpha for the week if I have tonight is the first time I'm meeting with them in general?
Okay, the week there is kind of serving as an iteration for this sprint, and it's for tonight's presentation actually. So we're just saying for sprint 2 presentation. I'm sorry, for sprint 1 presentation. Pick your team for this week. That's for this iteration. That's probably why you just put week. Don't get confused by the week. So just focus on tonight. So tonight you pick the best 2 rows or whatever it is from any of the teams is your choice, right? I hope that's clear, Essay.
Are we not going to be biased?
That's what I'm saying now. I preach that try not to be biased. But for me, if I wear your shoes, you'll be talking to the ants. So, but just try not to be biased, really.
Okay, thank you.
Try not to be biased. There are some that are very glaring. Like I saw one that is very glaring. I'll be surprised if they don't win. So that's a particular role in a particular team. So just try not to be too biased. Yeah, just try.
All right, thank you.
I'm scared to vote because I already know who I'm voting for. I wanted to say, okay, we have 5 more minutes, 4 more minutes now. Please, guys, quickly vote, please. So in 2 minutes, we'll probably just stop the voting. Then
yeah, I think we can start anyway. Let's start the feedback because of the time. Yeah. So almost.
Okay, that we should continue with the feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, and.
All right.
Yeah. I think we already got a lot of people now. Almost 21 people already voted.
Okay, that's nice. Guys, please vote quickly. Vote quickly.
And also fill the feedback form as well. This is also important.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll start with the feedback. Moji, are you ready for us for SMs and ADMs?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Good evening,
Let's
everyone.
be as fast as we can so that we can jump into the personal presentation. Hopefully all this will be behind us by 10. Thank you. Go ahead, Moji.
All right, thank you. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm
Yes,
going to
you can.
start. Okay, thank you. I'm going to start with the Super Alpha team and then I'll go to Flex.
Hold on, please, before you start. I want to break the recording. Thank you. Just a second.